So welcome everybody to another DoneJS contributors meeting. Thank you all for joining on this, the day before Christmas Eve. So everybody's schedules are a little weird. David's out. I know he's on vacation. I think same with Julian. But Prashant's here. Matthew's here. I think Mohammed's here. Okay. He can hear but not talk. Well, hello. Glad you can listen in. So let's get to it. Our status. If you guys haven't already, please add your status to the. I've created a contributors meeting for today. Oh, I just saw Mohammed put his in. Share that with you guys, and I will be going through mine, and then get through everybody's thing, and then we'll kind of do our stuff to talk about at the end. So last week was a busy week for me because I actually, and this last week, because I still had other reviews to do. So I've been getting through other Bitobi reviews. It was a busy Bitobi week for me. But I did manage to work a little progress on some can select, or on some two-way binding with select bugs. In particular, I was working yesterday on one that doesn't really have a fun answer, which is something that, or a good solution, which is something that I want to talk about today. I did push out the new overview of the tutorial and some of the other guides pages. So I basically wrote a very lightweight, modern Y, which is really just removing all of the outdated why people should use CanJS. I still want to do a much better version of this, but that takes time that I didn't really have, and I just felt like anything was better than what was there. I also made a really improved setting up CanJS page. This is one single page, but I like that I guess I just like the organization of this better, where it talks, all the different kind of common setups are at the top. We can add other additional ones really easy, but hey, you're using require.js. Well, you're either going to use it from the download or from npm, and you're going to look in here, or from Bower, and then you're going to look in here. And then once you have that, here's how you kind of set it up with jQuery and what you need to configure. So it was shuffling stuff around and adding things on how to do builds for templates. The Browserify now talks about can compilify, which is nice. So it's that's definitely better. And then the other thing I started on is this getting started tutorial. I felt that the getting started tutorial it took too long to it was a very lengthy treaty, so I worked on this page to shorten it up and I think create some really nice, at least I think, JS bins that people can use to get started. And they kind of build from each other for the most part. And the nice thing is, and then I'm going to keep going through the guide on other things to do. A lot of our stuff isn't upgraded with the modern, 2.3 syntaxes and things like that. So I've been updating some of our examples and things like that to use that. But this select bug is making select work with live binding totally correctly is proven to be a challenge for us.
Are you still working on that?
Yeah, there's still one bug that I really need to get to finish 2.3.8, which I'd like to get for next week. And then I do want to finally get the release article out. I want to talk about the evangelism roadmap and the ideas there. For next week, I want to fix the guide with new technology, just finish updating at least the technology part so it's showing 2.3 and how 2.3 should be used. So that's my status. Mohammed, I'll just read yours if you're unable to chat. So Mohammed and I talked a little bit last week about he might start working on the. He's going to start working on making can observe work from the roadmap. This is the ability to not have to use the after method. So he took a look at the proxy project. He's trying to look at can maps code and seeing what needs to be pulled from can map to be put in this can observe. Looks like he'd want to start working on it. We have a meeting scheduled Monday to kind of go through it and prioritize how this should be done. And he'd like to have tasks on evangelism. We can probably, like, I'm going to go over kind of some of the high-level evangelism stuff for this meeting at the end of it in terms of the roadmap. And Mohammed, I would just say let's just plan on when we talk Monday. Also talking about what, if you want a task there, what would be something that you would like to do.
What's the browser support we need for adderless? We need defined property?
Yeah. So IE9, if you want. IE9 if you're okay with specifying all of your properties, and really only Firefox support if you want to use proxies.
Doesn't Edge have it?
And Edge too, I think, has it as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I think part of evangelism, and this is like we really need that proxies are the future article to help kind of start convincing people that proxies are these amazing things that should be added to the different browsers.
I think everyone plans to add it. I know Chrome said they're going to add it.
Really?
Yeah.
Last I talked with the Chrome engineer, he's like, I don't want to add this ever.
So,
this was like
there was an issue I saw. I'll see if I can find it. There was an issue where they said they were going to do it.
Oh, really? Good.
I'll see if I can find it.
I know people have talked a lot about like how proxies are I actually was really happy at JSConf how people were saying, oh yeah, well, you don't need object observe if you have proxies, because then you can polyfill object observe with proxies.
Yeah.
Yes, please drive everybody's attention to proxies. And again, I think this is a long. I mean, I think it'd be good to start working on this now, because I think what we can probably do is hit a sweet spot a year from now when these technologies hopefully land everywhere. And we'll be the kind of like the first on the scene and just, I think, really blow people's minds away. Good. How do I go from the French to the English? Is this language? No. I don't know what uses English. Oh well. I think he's shared proxies. Oh, here we go. Stupid. This feedback page. Okay, whatever. We should just be able to get rid of that, right? But then you can find it. I know where proxies are. If it's sharing a link to proxies, proxies basically, if anybody's watching who aren't aware of what proxies are, they're method missing on objects. So you can sniff out when a property was read or written to, but nobody has created that property yet or added a behavior there. So you can like get in there and add an object define or something like that. Okay, cool. So, Matthew, you want to go next?
Yeah, I haven't filled out mine. I'll do it after the meeting. I've been working on bugs to get 0.6 out, going through the guide on Mac version 0.12 and Node version 4, and then doing the same thing on Windows. I haven't gotten to Windows because I haven't gotten through Mac yet, because I keep running into mostly small bugs, but bugs we got to fix. So right now, the one I'm working on is that when you like add bit tabs to your component, it has an error in the console that's not actually, it's not a, it doesn't break anything, but it's just a, yeah, it's just like a, you know, it throws an error that it shouldn't actually throw. So I'm working on trying to figure out how to, well, I mean, I know how to fix it, but the problem is essentially that components create other, or yeah, dot components create other modules, and we don't know about those modules, so we don't do the correct thing. So yeah, I'm working on that right now. And evangelism-wise, I'm going to work on an article about CanSSR. I gave a talk on CanSSR, so I want to do an article that really goes into what DoneJS provides. It's special on that front.
Yeah, I mean, you should, because Brian's going to give the presentation at JavaScript Chicago. You should probably, it'd be good to work with him a little bit on it, if he's also just good at, formalizing and writing articles and things like that. And if he's going to give the presentation, it's good for him to be prepared with that kind of info anyways.
I mean, I can, so we only have, I mean, I'm going to be out half a day tomorrow, so I can, take part of the day today to work on an outline for that and throw it to you guys. I think the way my presentation went, I think makes for a good article. It was basically, the start of it was like, here are the things that are important for server-side rendering, and I think that format might follow well for an article too.
Yeah.
So I'll put a outline together.
Yeah, I would prioritize getting 06 out though over the article, just because.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'll be able to get it out in the next 2 days.
That's fine, but I would.
Yeah.
I'd just keep working on that because the article can come out like. It's not like you're going to release the article before Christmas. Like you're going to release a Christmas article that.
No, I know that.
Not a good time to release an article, I think.
It wasn't really the release an article part. It was more of the communicating with Brian. Because I gave him my slides and everything, but we haven't talked about it. So there's stuff
that's like the end of January, I think.
Okay. There's stuff that's not, because I'm sure his talk is probably going to be a little bit longer than mine was. So. There's a little bit more he can expand on.
Cool. Anything else?
Nope, not for me.
Sean, you're next.
Yeah, hi, yes. Yeah, so I was working on a defect since our last meeting. So I was working on defect number 2069. And I have submitted a pull request for this defect. I'm not sure if anyone got a chance to look into the fix, but I guess if the fix is okay, then maybe we can.
Is this the watch?
This is for the watch and unwatch, yeah.
I looked at it. The only thing I thought, I'm sorry, I should have left a comment, is that it could be a little bit more generic. As far as I think it checked me for, we might put like create like an object of properties, of special properties like that. I'll add a comment. What I thought.
Okay.
Oh yeah, an object of special properties for sure. So you get the.
Yeah. So you can add them.
Faster. Well, you get faster lookup that way.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, all right. I'll make that change and submit a pull request again.
Okay, I'll add a comment just so you understand what I mean by that.
Okay.
So the problem was, I'm just looking at is computed adder. You changed it because it was looking, okay, because that normal object was a watch value there. It was thinking it was a computed adder. Now there's this computed adder. Could we, I mean, I wonder if it would just be faster, because you don't want it to hit that is computed adder case. You want it to be false there. But I wonder if we could just check computed adders have to have like a dot compute. Whatever's there also needs to be an object with a compute function to actually run. And instead of this like all this additional logic of checking, you know, if the object prototype watch exists, and then if has a watch property, maybe it would just be better to just check if there's something in, you know, if computer adders attr exists and computer adders attr exists and there's a compute property there, then call compute. Otherwise, just default to returning whatever at this dot underscore data. Does that make sense?
Right. So in that case, we do away with the checking of these specific properties, and we just check for the presence of the compute property. If that exists, and we call that function.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just
Maybe add a comment with what you mean.
yeah. So what I mean is, good idea, Matthew. Really good idea. What I mean is just going like also because you know, this code needs to be as super stupidly fast as possible. I'm just thinking we just change that to something like that. And only really if this, we're duck typing, if this is actually like a, only if this is actually a computed adder here, it looks like a computed adder, will we actually hit this case right here. Otherwise we'll go to here, which I think is what it was doing anyways. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that should be much faster, I think, than having to call, do an additional function call, and then having to do the logic inside here.
Right. Makes sense. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks. Sweet. I'm super happy you're fixing these bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a huge time saver for me to have to like look at it and reason about it. Cool. Awesome. Anything else?
So that was it. So I'll make this suggested fix to for this defect and submit a pull request again. The second thing that I was looking at was another issue, which is issue number 2120, which talks about an infinite loop when using can control hookup and $grab. That's issue number 2120.
So yeah, I see that one. I would, if there's a different one that you want to look at, there might be better ones. Only because this is like can view modifiers. Nobody really should be using anymore. We should actually. I would, if you want to spend your time, I would. It'd be probably better to just add a deprecated tag in the doc so people know not to use that. And also, it's using like Mustache. This would be a bug with either Mustache or EJS, and people shouldn't be using that technology anymore either. So there's a bug, but is it worth a lot of time fixing when this bug doesn't exist in Stash or what people should be migrating to?
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. So if that's the case, how about this defect 2000?
2000?
2000, yeah.
Right.
So it talks about upgrading some unit tests to use the new binding syntax.
Okay. Matthew, this is your issue.
Which one is it?
2000. What a good issue number.
Yeah, that's 2000. Yeah.
I think this is not true anymore. I think I fixed this. I didn't close the issue. Because I think we have the import tests were not passing, but I think they all are now. I'll double check this.
Okay. All right, then I'll go through the list of issues again, and then I'll pick up something from the list.
Yeah, I mean, Prashant, if you want, you could actually start working on like fun features or things like that too. One thing that would be really cool, but I mean, I don't know if you want, but we actually do need to start eventually working towards a 3.0. A lot of the effort there would just simply be removing all the things that are no longer used and putting them in their own repositories. I don't know. You can work on whatever you want, but it's fun to work on new, exciting things, and I'm okay that those are the things that you want to do as well.
Okay, so do we tag these kind of issues with some keywords so that I can easily identify them and then
Yeah, there's things labeled 3.0. So if you look at the you can do the go to the milestones with 3.0. There's some high level 3.0 goals. There's also like removing or deprecate, like some things that should be deprecated or just removed. Like we're no longer going to use the attributes or the setter plugin. Can model we really need to deprecate so that can connect is being used. I want to remove direct properties on a can map. Like so, each one of these things really could use its own issue. The way to do this would be to, and I can work with you on this if you want to set up a meeting. Is we need to create a 3.0 a major branch. So we need to make a fork of master, a new branch called major, and then really just start doing a lot of the little changes here. We need to, a lot of stuff that we should do is moving like can mustache and EJS into its own repositories so that people could still, if they really care and are using those, they can still make fixes there, and they can still get that code, but it's no longer part of like the main core. Little things like that would be.
Yeah, we have a couple of these already.
A couple what?
We have a couple of these where like the plugins were moved to their own repos.
Yeah, and I could show you how to do that. It's not hard actually once you know how to do it. Steel makes it pretty easy. So like this would be a good way if you ever want to like make your own CanJS plugins or things like that. It'd be a good way of learning how to make your own repository so that you can have your own open source projects as well. If that's something you'd be interested in.
So a quick question about these deprecated APIs. Do we completely remove them, or do we also throw some error or warning on the console so that the users get the information that these APIs are being deprecated?
We should absolutely start doing that. In some places we do. Like if people load attributes or setter, I think it does warn you right now, like, hey, you should probably be using the define plugin. I'm not sure if this one has.
I think we should though.
No, we absolutely should do it for all of them, and that's something that like I think would be good is just to take each one of these. I know we do this one too. We warn about this. It'd be good to just take each one of these and be like, okay, I'm going to make the change in master, or sorry, in major, and in master I'm going to give a warning, and I'm going to make sure the docs say this is deprecated.
Okay.
And
the way we do you didn't really explain this, Justin. The way we do branches is master is where we put like any bug fixes, like anything that would go out in a patch. That's what we usually put in master. Then we have a minor branch, which would be like the next minor version, like 2.4, which we're probably not going to do. And the major would be 3.0. Just because that it makes sense.
Yeah, and we can work on it there, and we can even, the cool thing you might have seen in previous versions of CanJS is that you can actually kind of have it pre-documented. So while we were working on 2.3, there was a 2.3 pre here in the dropdown, and we can actually put a CanJS 3.0, and you'd see all of the docs for CanJS 3.0. While even before it's released, it'd be 3.0 pre. And we can make it downloadable, installable from NPM, so that people can actually start using it, like, really quickly. And I think that would be really nice. So again, sorry, you can work on no pressure to work on this or anything else. I think it's some of the more fun stuff is, making the new release.
Right.
Cool. So if that's something that, whatever you decide you want to work on, just let's schedule a meeting next week if you're available. I should be available most times, and we can just sit and chat about it.
Okay, sure, we'll do that.
Awesome, thank you. Cool. Anything else from anybody? So there was a few things that I wanted to talk about from my status still. Back up. Okay, so the first was the evangelism roadmap. So here in Trello. So if you guys don't have access to this, I'll give you access to this. This is kind of how we plan out our highest priority things traditionally. Like, it's kind of a supplement to GitHub, where it's, what are we really working on this week or trying to close out. Like Matthew said, his big thing is 0.6. I'm kind of working towards CanJS Getting Started Guide. We added this new section here where we've just started to put evangelism ideas, and we try to structure it about how people come to use an open source project and eventually commit to it and maybe even contribute back to that open source project. And what we want to do is focus on that whole kind of process from end to end and what matters the most. So let me break through the steps. So the first thing is, if we're going to make CanJS or DoneJS and all this stuff popular, it starts at exposure. People at least need to hear the word CanJS, DoneJS, etc. So what are things that can get people to at least be exposed to our ideas? And then once people are exposed to the technology or the ideas, what kind of things drive them to start using it, to actually download it and start playing with it? Sometimes these two things can be very similar, like a external article written on NetTuts that walks people through a DoneJS example. Well, that will get people to start experimenting with it. But there are some things that are not that are exposure that are not necessarily experimenting, and those should go in here. Once people experiment with an open source project, then they want to, what makes them decide to actually build their project with that technology. And then once they've started building their project, well, you want to make it so that they don't end up hating the technology and continue with it. What kind of things, this actually is in the wrong spot, I think. Well, okay, I remember why it's there. What kind of things make them want to keep using and see the value of the framework for a long time, or the technology? And then finally, people get familiar enough with the technology that they might want to write a blog article about it, or might want to contribute back in some way. How do we encourage that? So we've just started throwing up ideas here, and I'll make sure that you guys, I know Mohammed has added, let me add Prashant real quick to this. If you guys have ideas, and I'll add Julian too. Okay. So if you guys have ideas, feel free to add cards for it right now, and then what we'll probably end up doing next week is sorting them. So I would just say for now, you can check out some of the ideas that are already there, like improving the CanJS, or make sure we change JavaScript MVC, which has no mention of DoneJS. Make sure there's something actually saying, hey, this project has been moved to DoneJS. Like, all the visitors are going here. At least that's an easy win to get some exposure. Article ideas, pretty much anything can go in here. Getting people to experiment. We have kind of like our we've got a few guides or example apps that we're working towards. Other ideas, API docs for just making it so people actually want to build, like they go from experimenting to actually building their project. If the API docs are good, then people tend to feel comfortable doing that. Things like roadmaps and this weekly digest and these weekly meetings help people feel like they want to, or they feel like the project's going somewhere, and they'll be more likely to stick with it. And then finally contribute, making better contribution guides. I think opening stuff up like this to clearly explain what it takes to be a contributor and how to do it, and working with people to do it. Kind of ideas there. So right now we're just adding cards, and next week we'll probably sort them. Any thoughts there?
Hey, Justin, I have Justin, I have an issue with the documentation, CanJS documentation. So when we go to this CanJS website, we don't even have a search button there.
For the API docs?
Yeah, for the API docs and everything. So what I usually do is, let's say if I'm looking for some API function or anything of that sort, I have to do a Google search to get to that result on CanJS website.
Mm-hmm.
So like searchability?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot go to CanJS site and then it doesn't have a search box there. I cannot type in a keyword and look for the results within that site. I always have to do a Google search to get to that result. So I'm not sure how challenging is that problem to fix.
Well, like JavaScript MVC's docs, I think actually had a search box for like the longest time, because let's see. So it's easy to do one based around like if you want to quickly go to like if you're like, there's two types of search, but making them integrated is the hard part. Like sometimes I see like, hey, if I'm in our old search work, so there's a search box up here, and if I started typing like can dot construct, it would show me everything that's every page like can construct prototype constructor and it setup. And it would show you all of those results. in a list down here. That kind of search is easy to do based around like the name of every page essentially, but a better, like a more Google integrated search, well, you can do that too because Google has integration. The problem is I don't know how to integrate both of those. That's where it's a little bit trickier. So we'd have to kind of decide what's, I don't know, maybe Google can do stuff like that a little bit now, but to integrate both of those might be tricky, but we could definitely do one or the other.
Okay.
But ideas like that are perfect, and that's what, like, for now, anything like that that you think would help, just throw on this board, and then next week we can kind of talk about prioritizing it.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, there's one other thing that I want to talk about is, well, I guess I wish David was here for this a little bit, and Julian too, but I think it would be good for me, for the project, where if somehow there was like a voting structure, meaning that like the direction it takes is not like a dictator from me. I think it'd be good if all of the contributors essentially, anything that's worth deciding, we're going to vote on, and majority essentially would rule. If there's 6 of us, maybe I cast a tiebreaker if it needs to be. But I'm thinking, I was inspired by a talk at JSConf about how some of the other open source projects are run, and the democratization of them I think is a really good thing. So I don't know what that's going to evolve into, but it's one thing that I would like to see eventually is if you become a core member, essentially you get a vote in what the priorities are and the direction of the framework. We'll see how that evolves, though.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. Like, what are we voting on? Because I feel like, huh?
You like benevolent dictators for life?
No, well, no. I like more of an anarchist way to do it. Is, you know, if Prashant wants to work on whatever, like Prashant is going to work on that thing. Like, it's, I mean, I guess you're talking about like if Prashant says we should replace React with React, or replace CanJS with React, like we would vote on that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, how do we, like, with open source, I agree. You want people to be able to do the things that they want to do. But you also need, like, a vision and direction and goals and priorities. We actually do have budget now, by the way, Prashant, and there's $50 of monthly donations, and we can spend that money, like, on bug fixes. Honestly, like, we probably will. Like, if you guys are fixing bugs, what we might just do is, I don't know, we have to figure out what to do with that money. But like things like that, I think we do need some governance around. Anybody can, of course, just go build whatever they want, but if it's going to get like the DoneJS stamp or the CanJS stamp, and also there's just something talking about prioritization, working as a team. We get way more done. We all work together around some common path. We will get far more done than if we're just like anarchists coding on our own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. The idea of voting is kind of, I don't know. There's something about voting that I don't like, that I can't put my finger on. I'm not sure.
Well, as I said, we don't have to decide how this happens. I want myself to be like I want the community to kind of own the direction, and I'm a voice in that community, but I am not like the only voice. I think that's really good. The success of the project.
Absolutely.
So cool. Good meeting, everybody. We got into the weeds pretty good. Anything else?
No.
All right. Well, everybody have a good holiday. Mohammed, looking forward to talking to you. Prashant, let me know when you have some time available, and we can kind of dig into things. And talk to you all later.
All right. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Hopefully you can talk next time, Mohammed. All right. Bye.
Bye.